The much-hyped Trump administration's peace plan for Ukraine has hit an unexpected roadblock. General Keith Kellogg, Trump's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, has hit the brakes, citing the need for NATO consultations before moving forward. But is this really just a delay, or the first sign of a major shift in Western priorities?
We're trying to end that war. It's a war that would have never happened if I were president. It would have never happened. But we're making progress.
This pause exposes growing fractures among Western powers and raises a critical, unsettling question. Is Ukraine losing control over its own future? Let's break it down.
But will President Trump listen to Europe? Or will he negotiate with Russia and China without Europe? Europe needs to learn how to fully take care of itself so that the world can't afford to ignore it. And all European countries must be willing to spend as much on security as it truly needed, not just as much as they have gotten used to during years of neglect.
For months, President Volodymyr Zelensky has banked on unconditional Western backing. Billions in military aid, NATO promises, and relentless sanctions on Russia. But now, Kellogg's decision signals a power shift. NATO's influence is growing, European leaders are stepping in, and Ukraine's grip on the war narrative is slipping.
In my opinion, we need more to achieve a result. I understand that we have a common desire for this war to end. Ukrainians want this more than anyone else in the world, because the war is ours, and the victims are ours, our people, our independence. And all this is under constant threat, constantly under attack, under missile strikes.
According to the Telegraph, Kellogg has assured European diplomats that their nations will have a direct say in negotiations. This changes everything. Ukraine is no longer Washington's exclusive concern. The peace process is becoming a broader geopolitical chess game. And in this new setup, Kyiv's demands may be watered down to satisfy Europe's growing appetite for stability over escalation.
And I've said it before, and I say it again. I'm deeply concerned about the security situation in Europe. We are not at war, but we are not at peace either. The good news is that we know what to do to protect our people and way of life, now and in the long term. We just need to do it. That means we need to invest more in defense and produce more capabilities. This cannot wait.
This shift has been brewing for months. What once seemed like an unwavering Western commitment to Ukraine is starting to crack under the weight of reality. Political fatigue is creeping in. The war that once united the West is now an expensive and politically risky liability.
There's no way Ukraine is also going to push these people all the way back to where they were on the eve of the invasion, just given the size dynamic. I saw a quote recently, and I wish I could attribute to who it was, but the quote was, and I think it was very wise, where they said the problem that Ukraine is facing is not that they're running out of money, it's that they're running out of Ukrainians. There's a size differential here that's important. This war has to end. And I think it should be the official policy of the United States that we want to see it end. Now, what that master plan looks like it's going to be hard work. This is not going to be an easy endeavor, but it's going to require bold diplomacy.
By pausing the plan and bringing NATO into the equation, Kellogg is sending a loud message. Ukraine won't be handed a blank check to dictate the terms of peace. Instead, this could pave the way for the one word Kyiv dreads most: compromise. That could mean ceding territory, shelving NATO ambitions, and accepting a settlement that looks nothing like the victory Zelensky had envisioned. And here's the real kicker. The Telegraph reports that elements of Trump's peace plan will be unveiled at the Munich Security Conference. Even as Kellogg hesitates, Washington is moving ahead. The US and Europe are actively shaping Ukraine's fate, whether Kyiv agrees or not.
You've been talking to Vladimir Putin. Are you trying to set up a meeting with him?
Well, I can't tell you what I'm talking about, but we are talking as a group also. I think I'd like to make a deal, but it takes two to tango.
And so, I mean, you can't give us any more clarity on whether you personally have spoken to...
I don't want to talk about it, no. I don't want to talk about it. It's not going to help you to know, but we would like to get a deal done if possible, only because, in my case, save lives. You know, we're much further away. Remember, we have an ocean separating. They don't. Europe should be paying what we're paying, and Europe has done it more in the form of a loan than with us. We just give it.
Kellogg's move to pull NATO into the discussions could be a strategic masterstroke. It prevents Ukraine from demanding an all-or-nothing deal while ensuring that Europe's security concerns take center stage. Because the truth is, Europe has its own priorities, and they don't necessarily align with Ukraine's uncompromising stance.
As for NATO membership, I have no reason to change my stance because I am convinced that Ukraine's NATO membership would completely undermine any possibility of peace negotiations. Peace talks must be based on a fundamental premise. If Ukraine's NATO membership is on the table, it will act as a complete block to progress.
The question is not whether we want to grant NATO membership to Ukraine, but whether we want to go to war against Russia. Ukraine's NATO membership would mean immediate, direct, full-scale war against Russia. Is that what we want? Hungary does not want that.
If Kyiv was hoping for a peace deal entirely on its terms, these developments should serve as a wake-up call. Washington's focus isn't on an outright Ukrainian victory anymore. It's on finding a way out. And with European leaders growing restless over an indefinite war, Ukraine may be forced into accepting a settlement that rewrites the endgame. Make no mistake, Kellogg's pause isn't a sign of abandonment, but a recalibration of power. Ukraine now faces two choices: accept a hard reality or risk being sidelined. One thing is clear: Western patience isn't infinite, and Ukraine's defiance may soon collide with Washington's shifting priorities.